that's just, I think, the most special, special, special thing that a person can have. So I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for you hopping on, and everybody is so excited. Like, you have no idea. Everybody has been talking about this since I announced this last week. So we are so grateful. I won't take any more of anybody's time. We're so grateful and cannot wait to hear you. So thank you again, Dani. We love you. And we're so excited. We have our notepads out and we are so ready to just be at your feet and learn from every single thing that you have to share. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow. I'm like so humbled right now. Thank you so much. That was such a sweet intro. It's so beside myself to like have pictured wanting to have an impact like this and feeling that it's real. Oh, if you guys haven't noticed, I'm an emotional person. But so I want to share with you guys first my story. Obviously, my story is not typical, but we're not here to be typical, right? And neither is my work ethic. But if you want to know what's typical, you can go to earnings.arbonne.com. So you guys, my name is Dani Bailor. I'm an independent consultant and executive national vice president with Arbonne. And so basically since the age of 16, I knew I wanted to be my own boss. So I wanted to call my own shots and I wanted to make a decision to become a cosmetologist. I thought that that would be this logical decision for a career field for me. I knew I loved helping people and making them feel so good. And so this seemed like the right idea where I could work and hopefully still have a life, right? And so my parents taught me a very strong work ethic. They made sacrifices for our family. And I just remember at the end of the day, you guys, we always got the rest of them and not always the best of them. And so I just knew that I wanted to do things differently. And so alongside working full time behind the chair, I also coached CrossFit. It's been a huge passion of mine for the last 10 years. And I just love speaking life and other people and showing them that they always had more potential, which ironically, I was holding back my own for so many years. And so you guys, I loved what I did, but I became a busy girl and I just realized I was slowly becoming burnt out. And I felt like I skipped this cookie cutter idea, this route of a 4-year and a 9-to-5. And still I found myself just feeling really restricted and I just felt stuck and stagnant. And to be honest, I just wasn't sure what my future looked like. And I knew like when Arbonne came into my life, there wasn't a better time. And in fact, you guys, I was desperate. And that's why I'm so like on fire about the way that I talk, because I know what it's like to be out of the mindset that I have and now have an opportunity like this. And so I just remember telling myself the year that I joined, I was like, I guess this is it. This is adulthood. This is my body. This is my job. This is my relationship. This is the town that I live in. And this is it. And that was the most uneasy conversation I ever had with myself, you guys. And I was so oversettling in my life. And I don't talk about this enough, but I was also in a very unhealthy relationship for about 3 years at that time. And I just knew like God had created me for so much more. And so you guys, I saw Arbonne as my way out. I knew if I worked hard enough that I could walk away from that relationship. I could afford to live on my own, have a new community, and pursue the best version of myself that I'd put on the back burner for far too long, for so many years. Quite frankly, I was just done being influenced by people's opinions and the people who only just put me down in my life. And it's like the people I used to surround myself with, they always made me feel guilty for wanting more. And now I realize that feeling was ambition, you guys. Wanting to go beyond the 4 walls of a salon, beyond the 4 walls of a gym. That wasn't me being greedy. It was the entrepreneur in me. And I looked at people in this business and they had generous hearts and a big vision, and I wanted to be part of it. And so I wanted those flexibility and choices that I still wasn't able to attain, right, with that plan A of working behind the chair. I wanted those things so badly. And so I've always had this itch to be more and do more. And I just felt like something in my life was just missing. I mean, can we relate to that? Can we relate that we have a plan for our life when we get into adulthood and we're just like, okay, this is it. And I'm trying to do all the right things, but like, this can't just be it. I was done at that point. And I'm one of those girls, you guys, I was actually reached out to over direct message on Instagram. And because I watched other people build this business, they seemed so happy doing it. And I was really not happy with my life. And I was pretty thrilled, obviously, to find products that I love that were pure, safe, and beneficial. I was in search of for so many years. I fell in love with our 30-day program, how it made me feel. Sorry, my kitten. And if I'm being honest, you guys, there wasn't a time in my life where I wasn't more desperate for community, clean products, and an opportunity to do something bigger than myself. And so I thought, surely, like, there must be so many more people looking for this, right? I can't be the only one. And so I was so eager to share what I had found. And I just really heard God so clear that he was calling me to immeasurably more of this life. And I remember not even thinking in the beginning of my journey, being like, God, I'm not special. Like, what do you mean you have immeasurably more? What does it even look like? You guys, I'm living it. And I'm so full of gratitude every single day. I can't even believe the life that I have. And so there was no denying the tug of my heart, obviously, to start this and pursue this opportunity. And I knew I could bet on myself, right? I knew that I was willing to work harder than I ever had before. And I built my business behind the chair from the ground up. So I knew I could take those same principles into building a business with Arbonne, which I soon decided I had a much bigger vision for. So
no.
I've never been more confident than I am now to say I'm in the right place at the right time. And I'm wait, you guys hear me now? I'm so humble to say that I've been able to influence many more lives than just that one-on-one conversations behind the chair. So again, you guys can find out what's typical at earnings.arbonne.com. So I know that you guys always get nuts and bolts of the business. And so today I want to share with you my heart and my mindset about going region and beyond, even to MVP, and a lifelong journey with Arbonne, right? So I want to share with you my initial mindset and the way that I looked at Arbonne, you guys. So belief, this is so important. I knew when I started this business that I would be an ENVP. It wasn't a question in my mind. I didn't care how long that it took. I believe that about myself. And if other people are making to the top, you guys, then why not me? It was just a given. I was like, people are saying yes to Arbonne, so I'm gonna find the people who are gonna say yes to me. And I remember as a brand new district manager getting a gift from my NVP, and at the bottom of the card, it signed ENVP to be. And I was like, how does she know? Like, how does she know? Like, I'm going all the way. Like, to be honest, you guys, I literally just thought, I was like, okay, this month I qual, this month I finished. I qual, I finished, then I'm gonna go RVP. Like, why would I stop? Why would I hold back potential? Why would I not ask more people, right? I didn't even know you could next month for your business at the time. And I just had a clear vision of what I wanted because I knew the life that I didn't want anymore. So why wouldn't I believe? You guys know this, like, believe that you're worthy of it, because why shouldn't you be, right? Next, you guys, time and consistency. I realized this was not going to happen overnight, right? It took me a year and a half to build a clientele behind the chair in my business before. So I knew that I needed to commit to this. I needed to put in the time, and I needed to understand that it was a long-term goal, right? And it was up to me to build it. So when I was working behind the chair, I had a mentor. I was watching her. I was shadowing her. I showed up on days that I didn't even have clients. I was always taking notes and learning and building my mentality for my business, right? Before I even had clients in my chair. So accept that. Commit daily posts, all those things. I needed to do a strict 30 days. I needed to be my brand, right? I needed to earn my clients, my potential trust. Are you a reason to respect you in your business? I knew that I had to commit from the very get-go, and I needed to take myself seriously in order for everyone else to take me seriously. So, right, it was no surprise to me that people aren't very fond of our industry, and I didn't act like it. I owned it and I embraced it, and I was, I'm basically a go against the grain kind of a girl. And so I wanted to be bold about it. I was like, yes, I'm that girl. And I told my sister, you guys, when I first started doing my business, I was like, hey, no, you think I'm just this crazy Arbonne lady, but I think this program could really change your life. And I just nipped it in the butt. And I was very direct with her. And I'm still that way to this day, you guys. Don't act like it's a prize. Tell them honestly how you feel and have conviction when you speak about it. And you guys, that program changed her life. Changed my sister's life by starting her 30 days. It was a domino effect on the rest of her life because I was honest and I didn't tiptoe, and I knew the opportunity that I had, and I delivered it to her directly. And so you guys, own it. Have confidence and conviction when you share. People can feel that. They can feel your energy. And when I would reach out in the first couple of months about the business, people would ask me things like, well, how much money are you actually making? And how do you know this actually works? And I would just say very confidently, I'm like, you know what? I'm just getting started wherever you're at. Just like, this is where I'm going. I'm not there yet, but the people who are ahead of me are exactly where I want to be, and they're teaching me. And that's all you need to know. Just right, that conviction, that confidence in your vision, you guys, that's all you need to know right now. Tell them where you're going, declare it. Be intentional, you guys. Something I love to say is like, and how do you wear Arbonne? Arbonne's your brand, right? Arbonne should be in every single conversation that you have. Like, that was my mentality. For me, I wanted to race. I wanted to go, I know my story's not typical, right? We all know what's typical. You can go to earnings.arbonne.com. But I had a very specific time frame that I wanted to build my business to region. And so I discovered every opportunity. If not, I created one, and I talked about it like it was my brand new boyfriend, right? So any opportunity, you don't need to start dating somebody, and you just can't stop thinking about them and you want to talk about them about everything. And you're like, yeah, well Brett he loves cheese too and crackers. Like it's insignificant, but like I needed to find ways to bring it up in conversation. Like, are you that way about your business? Do people see that you're so passionate and you can't shut up about it? Or is it a secret and they just see a link in your bio, right? Do you wear Arbonne? Are you your brand? Are you a VP? You have a VP mindset and attitude before you're a VP. You guys, I force myself every single day. Somebody asked me yesterday, they said, you know, someone told me that it just looks so easy for Dani. You guys, I got uncomfortable. I forced myself. Maybe you see this version of me now, but I'm still, there's a part of me that's introverted, and I was very introverted before as well. And so before a client sat in my chair, before I got on a live or on Instagram or something, I was like, this is uncomfortable for me, but I want this bad enough. And I'd be willing to put myself out there to share it with somebody else to get where I want to go. And so be willing to be uncomfortable. It's hard, you guys. It takes intention. It takes being uncomfortable. Are you willing to get uncomfortable all the time? Get comfortable being uncomfortable. And like I said, every opportunity I had, I talk about Arbonne, or I would create an opportunity, right? If I wasn't having conversations or people weren't responding to me, go on Facebook, go live, like reach out to somebody, go and create the opportunity. Nobody's going to wait for you. You build it yourself. So we need to earn their trust, right? Our team, our potential clients, we need to treat this like a business. We know the common misconceptions. We know it has to be up to us in order to build it. Ask, keep going, ask, keep going. Don't stop when you get a no. There are people who say yes to this. Go and find them. And even as the ENVP, you guys, I'm always building, I'm always sharing, and you're never too good for any part of this business, no matter what your title is. Next, you guys act like a VP before you are one. That was one of the most special things somebody told me was like, act like a level before you earn it, right? So there is a responsibility and a privilege to be a VP. It's not just a prize that you earn. It's an honor to lead so many people. And so you need to make sure that you're ready for that. You're willing to take it up and you're putting in the activity to match that title. If you want it bad enough, you'll be willing to do more than enough, not just the basics, couple reach outs. You're going to do more and more and more until you get to where you want to be. And also, you guys, you don't have to know everything. Even as an NVP, I'm still learning things all the time. But be invested, be in training calls, learn verbiage, listen to other leaders, surround yourself with people that you want to be like, be listening all the time. Like I said, does your activity match the title that you want to earn? Are you being the brand? Are you talking like it? Are you all in? Does someone ever have to question if you're all in on your business, right? Are you committed to your team and your business the way that a VP should be, somebody that you currently look up to, right? Is there somebody that you see and you're like, hey, am I acting, or do I have the attitude that they would have in this situation or in this training or in this opportunity when I get this no? Like, what is their mentality? I need to think like them. If you're uncomfortable, if you're tired, you're doing something right. You guys, there's evidence all around you. People say yes to Arbonne. Give them a reason to say yes to you and keep asking until you find those yeses. And so when we share Arbonne, whether it's in person, on social media, I want to make it really clear, you guys, like I did not build my business on social media. I used it as a tool. I used it as a follow-up kind of a program. I use it to just have fun and market and get creative. But I had in-person conversations. That was the way that I built my business with my warm market. It's very rare that I've like met somebody on social media, but it's a huge tool. And so no matter how you talk about Arbonne, you guys, you bring the same energy in your conversations, right? That conviction. So I listened to leaders over and over until I picked up on the energy they spoke. Much like Debbie, right? I had her on repeat all the time when I was building my mentality for my business. Peyton had a DA on our Facebook group and I had it on repeat. You guys, I listened to it till I went to bed. It was like something I almost like meditated on. We didn't even have a script for Healthy Happy Hour. And I didn't even know where to find it, to be honest, but I took notes. I watched it over and over and over. I listened to other leaders until I knew the jokes that they would say, the inflection of their voice when they spoke. I wanted to mock what they were doing so I could get to where they are, right? And so I did it until I was like, are you being that invested? Are you being that committed to do those things, right? And I loved it, you guys. I guess it was hard work, but I loved it. Do Arbonne, make sure that you love it. And when you watch or listen to somebody, if you're growing, maybe somebody you look up to, maybe it's me, maybe it's Debbie or whoever, you know, and you can tell yourself, well, I don't speak like them. No, tell yourself, I will speak like them one day. I remember watching Brittany Trent go live and she'd have all the nuggets and wisdom about Arbonne and I would just be listening in. And I thought to myself, I told myself with confidence, I was like, one day I'm going to speak like her, just like I am right now, you guys. Be committed to the long-term goal and that you're in a period of growth all the time. You're always growing. I was just thinking today, how I do training calls a year ago. I'm like, wow, I'm so much more aware of my mindset and the way that I speak and the energy that I personally want to bring as a leader. You guys, we're growing. Give yourself grace. Grace is so important. Be humbled, be coachable, but also give yourself grace. And so also when you're sharing Arbonne, how do you share it? You guys, I love when people ask me what's the Arbonne difference. I shoot out all the facts. I'm like, look, it's black and white. There's nothing better. You're not going to find it. This is what makes Arbonne different. Like, do you have that conviction? You guys, those are facts. You don't need to be a VP to tell why Arbonne is so set apart, right? So, and if you have any shadow of doubt, if you're like, well, it's kind of this and that, whatever, you guys, people can feel that. Have confidence. Even if you have to fake it till you make it, if you believe in that, whatever, but talk about the facts. Have confidence in Arbonne. There's no gray area. People can vibe that. Where you're going, how all the products work, what you believe about Arbonne, you guys, they can feel that when you talk about it. And so using social media as a tool, right? Don't just be posting trendy posts. Ask yourself, when I post this, is this adding value to my content? Are people seeing that there's intention with this? Is this creating a desire to know more, to my audience? And who is my audience? When I post since day one, I'm like, what would intrigue me? Like, I don't want to look at graphics. I want to look at somebody that I can connect with. I want to watch somebody who is passionate, who is happy, who is doing things, right? So make sure what you're posting has value and it's intriguing other people. There's intention behind it, and you're not just aimlessly posting. That's a waste of time, right? Make sure that there's something income producing attached to that potentially. So quickly, I just want to share with you guys a couple of things. When people visit my page, right, I want them to feel like a couple of things, that they know me, they feel like we're friends, they feel like they can connect with me. Maybe they know some personal hobbies of mine and my lifestyle, but when they click my profile, they click my story, they know that I'm clear, I'm all in, and I'm so passionate about Arbonne. There's a lot of consultants, you guys. Why are they choosing you? Why are they connecting with you? If they're going to say yes to Arbonne, they need to make sure that you're in it for the long run. Are you exposing that in a way, right? So having kind of a balance of all those things, that they feel like they know you personally, we're in the people business, right? But also that they know that you're going to be an incredible leader who's going to be with them, and that you are someone that they want to follow, right? So share things that add value, describe what you do and why they should be a part of it. You guys, taking ownership, this is next. So be okay with being you, right? I wasn't meant to blend in, and I don't want to. And we have to be okay with our talents, our journey, your looks, the color of your skin. Like, own who you are. That's one of the most important things in this business, you guys. We have to love and own ourselves and where we're going and who joins us in our own organization, right? I don't see a catalog with people with blue hair or two-toned blonde and copper, but I hope maybe I'll be the first, right? I don't need everyone's approval in this area of my life. And if you don't tackle comparison right now, you guys, whether you're a consultant or you're a VP, I promise you, it doesn't get easier the higher that you go, the more that you promote. Be like willing to love on yourself, accept who you are, where you're going, where you come from, your journey. And you guys, especially when I was in national vice president qualification, that was something that almost broke me, because I knew that I was called to do this business. I knew that God called me to be a national vice president because of the transformation of the person that would be as a leader. And as I was in between, you guys, I was in call for 5 months. It's a lot of pressure constantly for people asking. It's a tough question to answer all the time when I felt like I was falling short. And so I was like, well, so-and-so finished. I'm like, why am I not? Why am I not? Like, why am I not a good leader? You guys, I didn't define who I was as a person. I didn't define me as a leader because I didn't have the qualifications that Arbonne put out for me to finish a promotion. But I allowed it to get in my head and my mindset, and it almost broke me, you guys. It was probably one of the hardest seasons of my life. I talked about this in a recent podcast. I was very down about myself. I doubted myself, which was silly because I compared myself to other people. That wasn't fair to me, right? So make sure that you own where you're at, where you're going, that God has called you to your purpose, your talents, and your greatness, and your timing, you guys. Seriously, check out my podcast if you get a chance. I can go on and on about that comparison. But make sure we just keep our eyes fixed on people, right? We make it about ourselves, we're going to get burnt out. It's going to get old. How can you add value to people's lives through Arbonne, right? I promise if you make this about yourself and your own goals, it's going to get boring very fast. So your team, your clients, own who you are, right? I don't want to be like anybody else. And that's what's going to attract your community. And when it comes to social media, especially, you guys, be authentic, show what's real. If you just watch my last story, I'm like, oh goodness. But I really, what I was more attracted to when I was watching the people, right? What was authentic, right? That's what I wanted to show. That's how I knew I could connect with other people, because that's what I felt connected with, right? What's going to intrigue me? What's going to make me feel like this is a real person, and then it's achievable to do what they do and who they are. And so people relate to imperfections and hard days, you know, more so than us having it together all the time, right? Even if I'm an ENVP, I don't need to have my hair done, or every time I'm on social media, right? I don't redo the videos where I stutter and mess around in, right? I hope that shows somebody that they don't have to have it all together all the time and they can be exactly right. We want to show what we do is duplicatable. And I think there's a point if we're like real and authentic, we put that out there. That's a tip. So lastly, I pretty much want to cover, you guys, is judgment and a little bit of comparison too. So no one will care about your dreams as much as you do. Okay. It's your dream and it's up to you to create it. Not even your team, you, right? So the most valuable thing that I've gained from Arbonne, you guys, was choosing what I wanted for myself, right? Walking away, no longer letting opinions of other people hold me back, no longer being a people pleaser. I wasn't even looking for approval when I started this. And so don't let that be the thing that holds you back, you guys. How many people are waiting for you to achieve your dream because of the person that you'll transform into in the process, right? I knew that I wanted to go MVP right after I went RVP. The very first week I was a brand new RVP. I was like, woo, oh my gosh, last 6 months I was busting my butt. We made it. And before I even exhaled, God said, don't stop. Don't you slow down. I didn't feel on training. They would say, like, you don't push the brakes, you just keep going. You guys, God spoke that into my heart. Like, I knew that I was supposed to do this. And so you guys, even though I had that mentality and that was on my mind, I still really struggled, or not struggled, but judgment and misunderstandings that came against me, even my family. Like, you would think that you would have like the most support from your family, the people in my family who are entrepreneurs, who should get it, right? As an RVP, they had like zero belief in me. They're like, oh, those things don't last. Check out this salon when you move here. Like, I felt completely disrespected. I'm like, do you guys even understand like what I went through for the last 6 months to get here? Like, they couldn't even comprehend it, but I had to put that aside and I had to keep my vision straight on where I was going, tunnel vision, right? Because it's my dreams. It was up to me. And believe me, it's stung. Believe me, it's uncomfortable. But you guys, don't stop, because not everybody gets it. Not everybody needs to be on board. Not everybody needs to understand it. You have these people on this call. You have your upline, you have your team. They get it. And that's all that matters. Like I said, nobody cares about your dreams as much as you do. And so don't expect the people who got to the top had it easy. We were just willing to deal with more rejection and more no's more often. So you don't need everybody on board with your business. And you guys, so the main two people who were close to me that did not believe in my business was one of my best friends. She literally got pissed off at me at work one day because every nook and cranny of my day was Arbonne. I'd go to the gym, I'd post something, I'd go to work in between clients or processing, I'd be like in the hallway on a DA, or I'd be texting somebody, reaching out. Like, I was constantly on my phone. I was in tunnel vision for this month period, right? And so finally she just kind of went off. She's like, you're always on your phone. And I'm like, look, you don't, like, I didn't ever said this or I thought this, but I was like, you don't know what I have to do for me. Like, you don't know, you don't look at my bank account. You don't look at my mindset. You don't know what my future looks like. Your life is different. And even though you love me and you're my best friend, I can't settle. I'm not done. And I'm not done getting where I need to be. And you don't have to get it. And so I kept going. And that was hard, you guys. That was my best friend. And it took her until I went RVP. I had to go through all of that for her to say, okay, I see it now, you know, and that was okay. That was all right, because I had a clear vision where God was leading me and the conviction and vision I had in my heart, and no one was going to stop me. No one was going to get in my way. And you guys, the second person who was tough for me was my mom. And I remember when I first started, and you guys, I broke off our lease. I broke up with my boyfriend at the time, a month into my business. We had a place together. I had to break that lease. I moved in with a friend. I paid for both places. I had to break, there's so many cost things, right? And I remember telling her, and I'd be like, Mom, thank God for Arbonne. Like, we would be chatting and she would just skip over those messages. Like, she didn't have any belief in it. She didn't think, you know, she had good intentions. She wanted to make sure that I wasn't wasting my money and things like that. But it took her months of, you know, my hard work to see, like, hey, like, this is doing something different for you. Like, you're growing, you know? And so a few months into my business, her mom, out of the blue, stage 4 cancer. She passed like two years later. We thought this woman would, like, she would just live forever, right? Very out of the blue. Soon after that, my mom got very sick. And I didn't really know how bad it was at first. She lives a couple hours away from me. And so it took a couple times where I was like on the phone with her and started to visit her. And the first time I started to visit her, you guys, she fell into my arms crying because she was so miserable. She went to multiple doctors, had no idea what was going on, did so many scans. Everyone thought she was nuts. Everyone thought that she was depressed because her mom passed. And I knew my mom, she was the kind of person that was like, something was wrong, then she'd be like, I'm fine. And to have my mom fall into like her baby's arms and just be like so miserable and so hurt. You guys got to the point where she was so sick, she had to walk away from her job. And because I built a business with Arbonne, because I didn't listen to her when she didn't support me and I kept building my dream, you guys, I was able to be present with her. Sorry. I was able to take her to the ER when my dad was too burnt out. I was able to make up for what she wasn't working, the wages she wasn't making when she was working. She had to walk away from her job, you guys. And she made it just in time. I had invited her to my very first incentive trip. And at first she told me she wasn't going to be able to go, and I'd already bought her ticket. And months later, you guys, she was healthy just in time to make it to AIT. And she will not stop talking about that trip. You guys, when we shared this business, if you let like doubt and fear slip in about people that you want to reach out to, I always tell myself, even as an ENVP, I still get intimidated sometimes. I'm like, oh, what if this person judges me? They don't know what it means to be an MVP. They don't know what that means, what it means to have gotten here. I tell myself, what if their mom's my mom? What if in 6 months from now, their mom's gonna be going through what I went through? You guys, I cannot imagine. It was hard enough emotionally having to watch her go through that, let alone being like, okay, mom, I can help out here. I can be present with you. I can listen to you. I can take you to the ER when nobody else wants to. Like, we are building something so much more important. And so tell yourself that. If that's the thought that you give yourself, what is your why? Like, what is your main why? And don't steal that opportunity from somebody else because of fear, because of judgment, because of comparison, because you're worried about what people think. You guys, this is so much bigger. And I will forever wake up on purpose to give somebody else potential who has my why, or who is stuck in a stagnant and mediocre life when they have a vision for something bigger than themselves. You guys, if I can duplicate what I've become in the last 3 years, and I'm just getting started, right? We are just starting. So many of us are just starting Arbonne. I cannot imagine I'll be 5-10 years from now. And I wake up every single day saying, God forbid I'll hold back because of my fear and my own worries from somebody else who that I can duplicate to start a podcast and a Bible study and share their life and their love and conviction, right? You don't know who is your next ace, who is your next version of you or Dani or Debbie or Cecilia or whatever, you guys. So I hope that you are encouraged by this. And I thank you guys so much for letting me speak and share my heart. This has been like the biggest honor. I hope that this really just like resonated with you and you guys run and you don't hold back and you finish this month so strong.
Oh my gosh. Like amazing, 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 beyond. And I finally found her bio and she said it all. And it's no surprise that she has, multi grand awards achiever, AIT earner. And she said her podcast, it is amazing. It is called Immeasurably More Podcast. I definitely recommend following that and listening. And then she also does Bible study every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. So that's what she wanted me to share. But seriously, Dani, like, please take the time to read the chat. Like, that was life-changing. And I thank you for just being so raw and vulnerable and just literally putting it all out there for us. Like, I cannot thank you enough. You are amazing. And I'm going to turn it over to my mom. And we're literally sitting right next to each other with our laptops. So if her computer starts echoing, she'll just come onto mine. But yeah, thank you.
Dani, that was fabulous. Thank you so much. I had the pleasure of being a guest on Dani's podcast, and we had a lot of fun. I don't know when that comes out, maybe August or something, but it was recently that we recorded, and you should be really proud of yourself. I want to ask you this question. I think you mentioned it, but I forgot. How long have you been in Arbonne?
2.5 years, November 2018.
Okay. So I love that. Now we know that your results are not typical. They are not average, right? You can go to earnings.arbonne.com, but everybody has such different journeys, but that's pretty powerful in 2.5 years. And so after hearing everything that you shared, and every single thing you shared has so much value, but here's some of the things that really stood out for me: conviction. Because you could have 100 people, you could have 1,000 people, you could have 1 million people sharing Arbonne, but belief has a sound, conviction has an energy. And when you believe in something so much, again, it goes back to, that chocolate cake analogy that I use all the time, because sometimes we're worried about, oh gosh, we just saw somebody, and do we say something? Is it too soon? Will they think we're pushy? What's the right thing to say? And you guys, I'm saying this with so much love, we're making that all about us. And I also want to be really honest. As I'm 15 years in Arbonne and you talk about judgment, no matter how big your business is, there's sometimes those voices in my head that I've let, whether they're small voices or voices that I love, I've heard people say to me, God, just write in, and you're so this, and you're so excited, and you were too pushy, and you were too this. And somewhere along the line, every time I hear something like that, I'm like, that I've even held myself back kind of the longer I've been in Arbonne. But it's all about the conviction and talking about it with passion and owning it and believing that what you have so much value. And it is that chocolate, you know, if you had a piece of chocolate cake or somebody had a piece of chocolate cake and they wanted you to have a bite and it was like chocolate chips and the molten, not 30-day approved, right? But like all these delicious, they were like, have a bite. No, Dani, have a bite. And you're like, no, I don't want to have a bite, Deb. I'm going to be speaking on stage, or I'm doing the 30-day. No, you have to have a bite. Okay. So when we're jamming that cake down somebody's mouth, and we've either been the jammer or the receiver, right? Never have we gotten up, from a table and said, can you like believe her? Like, we had such a beautiful night, but then she had to go jam that cake in my face when I told her 3 times I didn't want it, right? Now, you've either been the jammer or you've been jammed. And we never say that because we know that it's done with so much pure love, that it was so delicious that they needed to share it. So it's the conviction really stood out. Another thing that really stood out for me is the way you listened to whoever it was, whether it was me, whether it was Peyton, whoever you said, whoever it was that, and listen, here's the thing, guys, there's going to be different people that do it for you, right? I could be somebody's cup of tea. I could not be somebody's cup of tea. It could be somebody's, whoever it is that does it for you. And it could be multiple people. And when I say does it for you, I mean, they kind of get in your gut and they twist it around and they make you feel uncomfortable and inspired at the same time to do more. You want to be listening to them as often as humanly possible. That's why sometimes, and again, I say it all the time, whoever's on here, on video, this is so not coming from a judgment thing, but everything that's going to come out of my mouth is always going to be from a coaching thing. Would an executive national vice president get on a Zoom without their camera? No. And so some people can say, well, I'm multitasking. That's all fine. That's all fine. An ENVP is not going to multitask and do a Zoom. They're going to give 150% of what they're doing in that time frame. So it's like all of these little things that seem insignificant are so powerful. And so it's all of those things you did behind the scenes. I remember when I started Arbonne, there was like a dial-in opportunity call. Like I called on my phone, I see Debbie nodding her head, and I just used to listen to it. And to be honest, it wasn't even a good one. Like, I don't even know who it was, but it was like somebody, she was definitely like older. It was very monotone, but it was all that I had. And I listened to it over and over and over and over again. And then I made changes and I made my own, and I made, and just like you said, I remember listening to my MVP. I'd get to know how she was delivering it. I would know how her tone changed through each thing. It's like you study. I remember Dana Collins, when I started Arbonne, she did a training for something, and she once said in her training that she drove 7 hours to wait tables at an event with successful people so she could listen to their conversations. Like, wherever success is, you follow it, you find it, you take it in like a sponge, and then you repeat it. But it's that conviction and that belief and that ownership that not only transpires your results, but duplication starts from the very beginning of wherever we are. The way we speak, our team sees. The level of conviction, our team sees. Our amount of enrolling, promoting, earning IIT, pushing through the uncomfortable, growing through a promotion and pushing towards the next. And by the way, it's amazing how I hear you say, you know, I was in qual for 5 months and it felt so long. That wasn't my story, okay? But 5 months in the big picture is nothing, right? When you're in it, it feels like a lot. But you know what also happens on the flip side of that, Dani? I've watched so many amazing regional vice presidents fear what that's going to be like. So they stay in the safety zone because that's the danger zone. The danger zone is, what if you work that hard and miss the qual? Or what if you work that hard and don't complete the qual? So we end up performing at subpar for ourselves at any single level because we fear that unknown. But when you push through it, when you're in it, it might feel painful. But I bet if you could look back now, those are probably the best, some of the best 5 months in your business, right? When we're in it, it doesn't feel like it. It's like childbirth. If anybody here's a parent, when you're in it, it's not so amazing, but you could look back and it is truly some of the best moments of your life. So I think you're incredible. I'm really proud of all that you have created. You're just at the beginning of your Arbonne journey as you're 2 wide, correct? 1 wide. You're on your way to 2, sister. So 1 wide executive national vice president. So thank you for all of the tremendous value and heart that you brought to everybody here tonight. We are really, really grateful for you. I did record. I forgot last week we had a guest speaker and I forgot to record. So thank goodness Karina texted me because I was so into what Brooke was saying. I was going to forget again. That's why I always say, get on live. You just never know. So good night, everybody. Have an amazing night. And thank you again, Dani. We really appreciate you.
Thank you for your heart, Dani.
Thank you so